Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview Sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. With me, as always, is the inventor of the infomercial and the original shark on Shark Tank, Kevin Harrington. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here, Seth. Thank you. Thank you. Great day today.
Yes, absolutely awesome. Today, our very special guest is Peter Shankman. Peter is the author of 5 books, including his most recent bestseller, Zombie Loyalists, using great service to create rabid fans in the upcoming Faster Than Normal, turbocharge your focus, productivity, and success with secrets of the ADH brain. Peter hosts the top-rated podcast, Faster Than Normal, and he's also the founder of Help a Reporter Out, the largest repository for sources in the world, which fundamentally changed how journalists source their stories. His customer service and social media clients have included Remax, NBC, American Express, Universal, Sprint, the U.S. Department of Defense, the Royal Bank of Canada, and many, many others. He's also the founder of Shankman's Breakthrough, a private online entrepreneur community with hundreds of members around the world. Peter, thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure's mine. Thanks for having me, guys.
Our pleasure. So let's go back in time a little bit. What prompted you to start Harrow?
So I talk to everyone. Massively ADHD means that you are really curious. And so I travel constantly for work, speaking and consulting. So if you're next to me on a plane, unless you fake your death, I'm going to know everything about you. I've only had 2 people do that. But the beauty of that is that I have a Rolodex, the size of a tree. And I know a lot of reporters from working in the PR field originally, and people would always reach out, Peter, I'm doing a story on whatever, who do you know? Oh, call this guy or call that guy. And I put people together. And then over time, I started getting more and more calls from more and more reporters, people who I didn't know, hey, I got your name from so-and-so, and he recommended that, the straw that broke the camel's back was the reporter from the Wall Street Journal. I got your name from a friend of mine over at the Times. I'm doing a story on Nigerian farming, and he said you have a lot of friends that are sub-Saharan soil experts. And yeah, that's sure. Like 12 hours later, a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend at USC was able to help. I'm like, this is ridiculous. There's got to be a better way to do this. So I started a little mailing list. It started actually as a Facebook group, which quickly turned into a mailing list. And 3 years later, 500,000 people receiving 3 emails a day from me with about a 79% open rate. It was pretty obscene. I created Email Crack. The day you didn't read it was the day that, a major media outlet was doing a story on your industry and you missed out. So you had to read it, which gave us, of course, a huge open rate, which gave us, of course, an easy way to sell a small little text ad at the top of each email for a ridiculously high price. 3 years later, we were acquired.
Congratulations. Full disclosure, I'm a client of Harrow. We use it all the time, both not only in our own business, but for our clients and helping get them PR and helping get them sources for stories.
Love it.
Fantastic, Peter. I love the openness of the dialogue we're having, and I've have always said I have a curiosity overload myself, from getting 5 newspapers delivered to my front door every day to going to 30+ trade shows a year, and so. Is trade shows one of your things? Do you do a lot of that, or do you do try to tune in via online stuff?
I try to tune in online. The problem with trade shows that I will spend an entire day there, and that's a day that I won't be doing other things, right? So one of the things about my ADHD, and it's the reason I actually launched my ADHD podcast, Faster Than Normal, you get to this point where unless you are compartmentalizing what you do for a living, it becomes very difficult to get anything done. So, today is my 1 day a week for meetings. That's why we're talking now. That's why things like that happen. I don't have meetings on other days because those are days I'm creating content or, producing stuff if I have to go to a trade show, I spend the entire day there. That sort of throws me off. So I try to get most of my work done on airplanes when I'm on the road traveling. And then speaking is easy because, you speak in the morning and then you're flying home, whatever. So I'll speak at trade shows and I'll walk the floor for about 5 or 10 minutes. But if I don't catch myself I'll be there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, the entire day. I actually have a rule about speaking in Vegas along those same lines, in that my speaking contract anywhere in the world is like, I'll speak, you pay me, and you pay my travel. Except in Las Vegas, if I'm giving a speech in Vegas, it has to be an afternoon keynote, like a 12:30 lunchtime keynote, which means I'm on a 6 a.m. flight out to Vegas in the morning. I give the 12:30 keynote, and I'm on a 4 p.m. flight back. I don't have a gambling problem or anything like that, but if I do a morning or an evening keynote, it means I have to spend the night. And more often than not, nothing good is going to come out of me alone in Vegas for a night unsupervised, right? So, know thyself, I think, is the answer here.
That makes a lot of sense. Talk a little bit about Shankman.
So Shankman is a business group. It's a mastermind group, which is about 200 people currently. And the launch of it, or the reason I started it, was because when I sold Harrow, I started getting tons of emails from, hey, you did this great job, you made all this money. I have a private mastermind group, and you should join us, and we'll teach you how to do everything. And it's only $50,000 a year.
Yep.
$100,000. I'm like, if I could just drop 50 or 100 grand, despite having sold a company, I probably wouldn't need a mastermind group. And it just occurred to me that there are probably a lot of people out there who had never, entrepreneurship is lonely, right? Entrepreneurship is a lonely business. It's not like you have an HR department to go talk to. It's not like you have, you might have friends who are entrepreneurs, but those are few and far between. And they tend to be, you don't want to share your failures with your friends. So you need a group, you need a tribe. And I'm like, I want to create something, A, to give back to other entrepreneurs, but B, to have a tribe myself. And so I launched this group, and I keep the price incredibly, I think it's like $79 a month I charge.
I'm sorry, my internet just went down.
Oh, welcome back.
Back on. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Welcome back.
All good, Tom. Bye.
But yeah, so that for me is the reason I started Shankman. So we're a 200-person group. We're completely online. We do a couple of in-person meetings a year, but primarily online through Zoom. We hold calls every week, and a great online group, a Facebook group where we talk about everything and anything related to entrepreneurship and really to life in general. Hey guys, I'm in New York this month, this week. Who wants to have dinner? Things like that. So it's a good group of people.
Peter, do you go to any of these mastermind kind of programs? Have you heard of like War Room with the digital marketer guys and the Joe Polish stuff? Do you get involved in any of that?
It's funny you mentioned that, but while you were getting back online, I was asked how I started Shankmans, and Seth asked me how I bless you, Seth. Seth asked me how I started Shankmans, and I said the reason I started Shankmans, my mastermind group, was because when I sold Harrow, I got all these invites to join these mastermind groups for only $20,000 a year or $50,000 a year. Like, if I had that much money, I probably wouldn't need a mastermind group. And I realized that I wanted to create one for entrepreneurs who might not have 50 grand at their disposal any given minute, right? Because as I said to Seth, entrepreneurship is kind of a lonely road, right? You want to make sure that you have your tribe and you have a group of people you can talk to. And so that's why I launched my group. So we're about 200 strong now, and I couldn't be happier with the people in it.
What kind of price point do you have?
$79 a month.
Wow.
In New York, that's about seven lattes in New York.
Barely, There's a place charging $20 for one now there, I hear. So.
An artisan, don't give me this artisan cup. Just give me a goddamn cup of coffee. Bean water. That's all I want. Bean water.
Right. Yeah.
You've got 5 books. Most recent, Zombie Loyalist, is out now, and you're writing faster than normal. Talk a little bit about Zombie Loyalist and faster than normal.
So Zombie Loyalist is the premise that everyone has that one friend in the office who loves the Olive Garden, right? I always use that as an example. Everyone has that one friend. We're doing lunch. Oh my God, Olive Garden, the breadsticks. They become that ridiculous sort of. Something happened to them when they ate once. Maybe they were very nice to them. Something happened that made them a loyalist to the Olive Garden, and now that's all they do is talk about how great the Olive Garden is. That's what you want in this sort of experiential age that we're in right now. It's no longer about Yelp or TripAdvisor. No one cares how great you are if you're the one that has to tell them, or if people they don't know have to tell them. So what's happening more and more is that if I go to a restaurant, say the same restaurant 4 times a week, and I enjoy my time there, what winds up happening is that Google knows that, Facebook knows that, Instagram knows that, Apple knows that. My phone, whether or not I'm posting about it or sharing it or reviewing it, I don't have to. The network knows I exist, and the network knows I'm there, and it uses its logic to figure out, well, Peter goes to the same Mexican place 3 or 4 times a week. It's right near his apartment. He keeps going back. He hasn't stopped going. His tip is usually 15, 20%, so he must have pretty good service there. When you go to New York, Seth, and you're looking for a restaurant near your hotel, you know, Google Maps will show you the restaurants near your hotel, but above those, it'll show you restaurants that I've gone to or other people in your network have gone to. And that's where we're going in terms of the experiential economy, the social economy. And so Zombie Loyalist is the premise that your job is not to create amazing customer service moments that cost you a fortune. Your job is just to be a little bit better than what people expect. And let's face it, the customer experience, what we expect is pretty much crap. I mean, you know, the high point of our airline trip is not getting the crap kicked out of us on the plane, right? So if that's the height of it, then I don't need you to be awesome. I just need you to suck a little less. And so the premise behind Zombie Loyalist is just be a little bit better than what we expect, and you'll win all the things. And then by default, people will talk about you and they'll share it, and that's how you're gonna get your business. You get the customers you want by being awesome with the customers you have, essentially.
Yeah.
Faster Than Normal book, it's actually done. I just got the galley copies. The Uncorrected Proofs yesterday. It comes out in October. It's being published by Random House, and it is. I'm really, really stoked. It's the concept of using the gifts of the ADHD brain. So it's not only for people with ADHD, but it's for anyone who really kind of wants like 3 or 4 hours a day of their life back, right? To do whatever they want with it. It's the premise that, you know, I don't live my life without, like I said, the same thing about Vegas, right? I have systems. I have a closet. You know, I have gorgeous suits, like pieces made in Italy or whatever. Sweaters, that's all in another closet in another room. In my bedroom, I have one closet. It has 2 sides. On this side, it says office, and on this side, it says speaking or TV. And the office is this: t-shirt, jeans, speaking or TV. It's a button-down shirt, jacket, jeans. That's it. Because if I had to go into the closet, well, what do I want to wear? Oh, look at this sweater. I remember that sweater. Laura gave me that sweater. I wonder how I should look her up on it. It's 3 hours later. I'm in the living room naked and I haven't left, you know, on Facebook, and I haven't left the house. So it's about creating these systems in your life, and stories through me and through other people that we've had on the podcast, Seth Godin, Tony Robbins, things like that, where they talk about sort of how they use their ADHD to their advantage, but it's also for everyone who sort of wants to gain time back and sort of streamline. So I'm really stoked for it. It's
fantastic. So let me ask you this. I'm in it, you know, just looking at my own business. I sell products on TV. Now I'm morphing into digital and Facebook and social media, and inventors come to me. Do you get that level of, you know, kind of startup kind of things? You know, do people come to you on your podcast, or just a businessman? Hey, I got this idea. What do you do with those things?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the biggest question people come to, I have this idea. How do I get it to an audience, right?
Right.
And my answer to them is always the same. I don't know your audience, right? The question isn't how do I get to the audience. The question is how do I learn about my audience, right? Because you could asking me it's like asking, well, what social platform should I be on? Should I be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? I have no idea. You know, you have to know where your audience. I pretty much know you shouldn't be on MySpace, but everything about Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you have to answer that question by talking to your audience. One of the things we did when I was running Help a Reporter Out is that every month we'd simply put a one question survey up there. And guys, do you think we should do this or that? Right? And we'd get about 1,000 responses. And I would then spend the weekend personally replying to every single person who took the survey. Say, hey, FYI, we're doing this. And that made my audience feel invested, right? And as soon as they felt invested, they would do anything I asked, right? They would share, they would post, they would, oh my God, Peter responded to me. You know, it's not so much about how do I get publicity, how do I get exposure? It's really about knowing your market and then marketing to these people who want to buy your product in such a way that they feel that you're actually taking the time to listen to them and give them what they want. You know, it's asking which network you should be on is pointless. Ask, how do you learn about your audience? And we've never been in such a place before in history where it's been so easy to find out what your audience wants. Just talk to them. Just ask them. Reach out. Have a conversation. Every email that came out of Harrow, and keep in mind, I was sending 1.2 million emails a day at the height of Harrow. Yeah. Every single email came from my email address, peter@shankman.com. It never came from do not reply. You had a question, you just hit reply. And that's how you get an audience.
There you go. Yeah, because I mean, in my business, we would take so much risk. Someone would come to us with a product. We had to produce an infomercial, the creative, and all the costs to do that, hundreds of thousands of dollars, buying the media. We find out there's no audience for it. Today, we call it test before you invest. We can go out on Facebook, do a little survey, and find out, what do you think of this? You know, sometimes these crowdfunding sites give you, you know, you go to crowdfund and nobody wants, you know, to
what does that tell you? Exactly.
It might tell you, you know, you're going down the wrong path, right?
Definitely. And you know, what's funny is that I have a lot of friends who still work in traditional ad agencies, and they just don't get it. They're just not seeing that it's just they're spending thousands of dollars on these roundtable. Totally spacing on the name. The thing where
focus groups.
Focus groups. Thank you. $1,000 inviting guys, go online. For God's sake, ask the same questions online. It takes 5 seconds. And you'll have an answer, and that's how you start building your storyboards and how you start doing all that stuff.
Exactly.
So you've got 5 books. You're working on Faster Than Normal. You've got the podcast. You've got Shank Minds. Sold Harrow. Do you have any role left in Harrow, or are you completely out?
Nope. Sold Harrow. I had a 2-year earn out with them that ended in 13.
So books, speaking, consulting, Shank Minds. What's next?
Well, in my spare time, I'm, those few hours a month I have, I'm training for an Ironman. That'll be my 3rd Ironman.
Wow.
And you look at me and you think, no, Peter, you're confused. You watch the movie Iron Man while sitting on your ass. But no, I actually do Ironman triathlons. So I have that. So I'm a single dad with a gorgeous, wonderful 4-year-old daughter. So the few hours a month, I don't have her, or I'm not traveling for work. I try to get on my bike, try to get like a 100-mile ride or something like that. Or I do super early runs. I'm the guy, if you Google me, I'm the guy that got arrested for exercising in Central Park before it opened. I'm not even joking. 3:30 or 4:30 in the morning. I'm running in Central Park with my running partner. Cop pulls up in his car, stops us, says, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Seriously? What? We're covered in sweat. We're in spandex. What? I'm giving hand jobs for crack. What do you think I'm doing?" Turns out that's the wrong thing to say to a New York City cop.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then the story, we had to go to court. We totally beat it. They dismissed it, but apparently born and raised in New York City all my life, had no idea that Central Park is a curfew. So
wow.
So yeah, I try to keep exercise. I can't. I'm really useless if I don't get some sort of exercise in every morning.
Yeah, Ironman. That's great. You get involved. You probably take some amazing supplements and that kind of stuff. If you're doing a lot of training, is it
I do. I not as much you might imagine, but I do try to start every morning with L-tyrosine, L-lysine. I take a probiotic, which is amazing. Everyone should take a probiotic. It's incredible what it does for my stomach. And then basically just a multivitamin, and then vitamin B12 methylfolate. The thing about ADHD, there's this gene, MTHFKR gene.
Right.
The unofficial term for it, which I can't say on your show, but
yeah,
there's a couple of studies out now that say that ADHD tends to have we tend not to be able to, we have a much higher mutation of this gene, and we're unable to process vitamin D and vitamin B12. So the methylfolate allows it to process in our system, and yeah, that's some good stuff. So not B12 regular, but B12 methylfolate.
Yeah. Fantastic. The $79, is that a week, a month? What?
A month. $79 a month.
Amazing value, right?
Yeah. I mean, we have 200 people who, and I'm looking at the group right now on another tab, and we have there's 15 active conversations going on right now.
Yeah.
And, plus we do twice a week Zoom calls where anyone can jump on and ask a question, or, hey guys, what do you think of this project? Or can I look at my marketing plan? So yeah, it's Shank Minds. Again, I wanted to do it because I think Kevin Spacey said this: if you have any modicum of success, you have a responsibility to send the elevator back down.
Yeah.
I like helping. I'm a big believer in karma.
Yeah. So you're in New York. You live in New York City?
Based in New York, yeah. In Manhattan. I spend most of my time on a plane, but I'm based here.
Yeah, me too. I mean, my son's he lives at 46th and Lex. We have an office at 50th and Park. I'm actually heading up there. I'm speaking at a small business expo tomorrow over at Jacob Javits.
Javits, yeah. So I live 3 blocks from Javits.
Yeah. So
I'm on the west side. You guys are east side boys, but
it's good town to network and hang out in. So
growing up in New York was amazing. I mean, it was going to public school in the city, and I just became so much more street smart. By the time I got to college and I met people who didn't grow up in New York, I was like, my God, you people are stupid. Not that I was but I was just much more street smart than they were. At a much earlier age. Let
me ask you, what's one of I always like to hear about a transformation. Somebody that's been through, it still blows me away how affordable your mentoring program is at $79. So for $79, tell me about somebody that had a transformation in their business, made a deal, made a connection, something like that.
There's a woman named Elizabeth Fullerton who, and she's said this story publicly, so I'm not taking any confidences. She is a great graphic designer. She actually does PowerPoints for some of the top 10 CEOs in the world. Like she creates their PowerPoints for their speeches or whatever. She was stuck because she was trading time for money, essentially.
Right.
And she came in and she has tripled her revenues in the past 12 months.
Wow.
We gave her ideas, and we sort of brainstormed. We said, how do you do this better? How do you make better use of your time? And yeah, she's still she loves what she does. She's working a little less because she can, but her client base has gone through the first thing we tell almost every person that comes in is raise your prices. It's amazing how many entrepreneurs are afraid to raise their prices. It's just incredible.
Give her my name and my email because I'm interviewing some PowerPoint people right now.
Oh my God.
I did 112 events last year, and I look at my content, and some people say, "Oh, it looks good," and then I've had others say it's dated, it's old, crap.
No, she is off the charts amazing. She, look at the top 10 CEOs in the world that you think of. She's done their PowerPoint. So yeah, I'll give you definitely.
Yeah. Hey Seth, will you make sure that I get her phone number from Peter? Yeah,
yes.
That's very important because
Peter, I've got a referral for you. We have recently interviewed somebody who's created a household management app for ADHD families.
Love it.
So there's gamification, there's badges. It helps the kids get excited to do their stuff in the right order at the right time. They're doing a crowdfunding campaign right now. I will introduce you.
Yeah, let's get them on the podcast. I love that.
Yeah, they would love that. All right. Anything else you want? Amazing interview, incredible story, amazing success. Anything else you want to share before we let you go?
No, pleasure was mine, guys. I'm a huge fan. Kevin, known about you for a while, and Seth, I really appreciate putting this together. This is pretty awesome. I will make sure that Elizabeth gets to you, and yeah, love to see feel free to plug Shankmans. It's I love that it's growing sort of organically now that I'm not doing it. That's like the coolest part.
That's great. Maybe someday we'll grab a coffee up in New York. I don't know if you're allowed coffee or not because of caffeine.
I quit drinking about 2 years ago. I quit smoking about 10 years ago. Coffee's all I got left, man.
Yeah.
I got nothing else.
I'm in the same boat. 10 years, 2 years. I'm right there.
I would love to grab a cup of coffee with you guys.
Okay. Peter, great to meet you, buddy.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks so much for listening to this special productivity series of the Direct Response Marketing Podcast. I've interviewed hundreds of the most successful entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and CEOs all over the world, and I want to share with you one of the biggest ways I've discovered to triple your productivity that I've learned from these amazing people. Even better, I'll pay you $500 to test drive it. Just go to takethe500challenge.com. That's www.takethe500challenge.com to learn more. Thanks so much for listening.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.